Hello, YouTube. I figured it's probably due time that I actually made a formal introduction to who I am and kind of what my channel goals are. In my first video, like my Welcome to Life in Gambray, I did talk about kind of what I'm going to upload and a brief intro about myself, but I figure, you know what? I may as well let you guys get to know me a bit more in depth. So without further ado, my name is Brandon. I'm a 31-year-old boy, man, who lives in rural Prince Edward Island. So Prince Edward Island is a small province on the east coast of Canada. We are an island. We are actually Canada's smallest province, but actually most densely populated, which is a weird one. You can only reach PEI by boat, plane, and a bridge. The bridge is about 8 miles, 13 kilometers long. The Confederation Bridge, it's called. We call it the Fixed Link, the Confed Bridge, whatever you want to call it. It is actually the world's longest bridge that covers iced over water. So like in the winter, obviously the water under the body of water underneath completely freezes over. So years ago, actually, some animals came across on the ice. So I think it was bears and maybe coyotes came across on the ice. Bears were a long time ago, but coyotes only came across in like the 90s. There's your PEI fun fact. I live on a 200-year-old farmhouse, log cabin originally, turned into a farmhouse. I think I mentioned that in my house tour. But yeah, that's kind of a bit about me, or the basics about me. I'm a lover of nature, travel, the ocean, fishing. I am a commercial fisherman seasonally, so I fish lobster, mackerel, tuna, halibut. That's giant bluefin tuna, which I'll actually kind of reference at the end of this video. And hopefully some more things in the future. I'm currently just a deckhand. I've been doing it for about 12 years, which is kind of crazy to think. This will be my year 13, I guess, that's wild. That means I'm getting old. On top of that, I love sports. Like I said, love the outdoors, love DIY, love working with my hands. I've been kind of a laborer my whole life, and I enjoy that more than sitting at a desk. Although I do like content creation, so it's a nice balance where I get to do some DIY and some reno stuff here at the house, and I get to make videos about it. I'm a bit of a hybrid because I am I used to be. I'm not so much. Well, no, I still am. I'm a bit of a gamer. I love some classic video games. Grew up on Pokemon, Zelda, Tibia, which is one I've still played to this day. That game is like 25 years old or more. Yeah, it's like 28 or something, and I've played it since I was like 8, 9, on and off. I think my first account was in 2000 or 2001. So yeah, it would have been 8 or 9 at the time. Or 7 or 8, I guess. That's crazy. But yeah, so like I said, I'm a hybrid. I'm a gamer that was a former athlete. I'm kind of old and washed up and out of shape now. I used to love going to the gym. I haven't in 2 years, but the goal is, knock on wood, to get back to doing that by setting up a home gym. But sports, I played university soccer. Growing up, I played soccer, baseball, basketball, football, rugby, badminton, cross country, like kind of school sports. University, I did play for 1 year. I say that loosely. I was on the team, but I only dressed, 3 or 4 games. And unfortunately, I wasn't quite serious enough about it. I didn't really do my part in training and staying up to fitness levels. But that's just not me. I was just a bad student. And at the time, I was, young and dumb. But I also played an Irish sport called Gaelic football, which many people don't know about. But it's an awesome sport that I love, or I came to love. And I played for probably 4 or 5 years. And it took me all over Canada. I've played in PEI, I played in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I've played in Edmonton, New Brunswick. I've played in Ottawa, Ontario. I've played in Montreal, Quebec. I've played in Toronto, Ontario. So I've played in a few provinces, and it actually took me to Ireland. I played in an international friendly tournament in Waterford, Ireland. I had the chance to go back. I was actually supposed to play in Londonderry last year, but unfortunately I had some health stuff that kind of has kept me out of sports and training. I even got to play kind of fun when I was down in New Zealand. I met up with a local club, and I just kind of joined them for some training and played in one of their exhibition games. So it's kind of brought me all over the world. Well, it hasn't brought me. I've got to experience it all over the world. It wasn't like that's what took me places. And you might see me glancing to my right. I have a bit of a script or pointer so I don't forget things. And I also kind of am annoyed that this is watermarked, but I'll see if I can kind of cover over that. It says IV Cam, which is the software I'm using to be able to use my iPhone as a webcam, which I had no idea you could do, especially since it's connected via Wi-Fi, which blowing my mind. My camera is like 10 years old. It's still HD, but it's not great. So yeah, I like DIY, learning new things, which I talked about, and I kind of have a hodgepodge of interests. So that's kind of the basis of this channel, where I talked about DIY, renovating, kind of homesteading life, which I'm not really homesteading yet, but it's kind of the goal to turn it into a funny farm, just all over the board, and other whatever else I kind of get into and funny aspects of my life. So numbers don't really mean anything to me. I could care less if this channel, doesn't make it. If I make a penny on this channel or less, I don't care. It's not about money for me. For me, the big thing is just like, I just kind of want to engage and interact with people, whether that's 10 people or 10,000, I don't really care. As long as it's like meaningful or, what's the word I'm looking for? I should probably write it down somewhere. Oh, meaningful engagement and interaction. I wrote that down. There's a little note there on my second monitor. I just enjoy that part of it, and that was what I did have a previous channel, which was completely video game based. That was my favorite part, which is kind of talking to people, shooting the shit, for lack of better terms, talking about games, or talking about similar interests, or talking about just other ways of life. That being said, I do think goal setting is kind of important. So for this channel, I just have like a rough 3-month goal. I've only just started about a week ago. So my plan would be in those first 3 months, 100 subscribers. I don't really care about likes and comments and that stuff. I really just want to slowly see growth in the channel. If each video only gets 10 or 15 views, but every now and again I get a new subscriber or someone that's actually interested, that's a win for me. So 100 subscribers. I want to be able to upload at least 1 to 2 videos per week, 1 being the bare minimum, which I think I can maintain. One thing with my other channel I struggled with was I wasn't enjoying making content anymore, so it felt way too much like a job, which was no fun to me. So I think it's much more manageable. I have like so many things going on right now, like the renovations on the house, renovations on the camper, stuff I want to do the yard, stuff with my wood, like camper. Like there's just 4 or 5 kind of topics that I can potentially make videos on. So I think I have a little more options for content, and at least 1 real video like this one per month, which I just kind of sit down and I either have a set out topic or something I just want to get off my chest, or some way to, interact and kind of open a dialogue with my viewers. So I think that's pretty manageable. In 3 months, that would mean 3 videos like this. If I can make 3, that's a plus for me. That's a bonus. And 1 to 2 videos per week, I think is pretty manageable, since right now I don't really have to do much editing because they're all just kind of 1 take and 1 cut, which moving forward, obviously I'd like to change that. But I'd also like to learn some things about YouTube. So I would like to learn more about the YouTube algorithm. I started watching a few videos, just trying to kind of learn how YouTube works. I want to learn how to edit and produce videos properly, like that I just said. I haven't been, cutting or editing or anything. It's just kind of a record and upload. So hopefully I can learn more about that. I'd like to learn about YouTube marketing and branding, which again is kind of learning about the algorithm, and that kind of goes hand in hand. And I just want to improve my overall video quality, whether that be, I guess, quality and like production value. So camera works pretty good. Mic's pretty good. The mic I bought from Amazon is actually pretty good. So the wireless mics, I'm kind of not set there, but I'm happy or content there. So I think it really just kind of comes down to editing, uploading, and production that I just need to learn about. And now the final part, and I guess would be my major goal and most important, would be to kind of share some aspects of my way of life and experiences while learning how to not take those very things for granted. So coming from a very small rural area, like it's just kind of a normal way of life for me. It's a super slow pace, and I just kind of got out of realizing that like I am super, super fortunate to be born and raised where I'm from. I'm in a beautiful part of Canada. I mean, it's raining and crappy out right now, but that's just weather. We can't control that. The big thing for me is like crime and like some real world problems. I haven't really made it to PEI. They're trickling in here, but like I'm in a place where, knock on wood, like murders are very far and few between. Break-in entries are very few, like muggings, assault, rapes. That stuff is very, very rare. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, and I don't want to take away from people that it has happened to in the area, but it's not super common here. So like I feel pretty safe 95% of the time in my own area, which is nice. That being said, there has been kind of a string of break-in enters or like property damage in the last like 6 months here, but they're local people and the cops know who they are. It's just kind of some drugs have got into the area. So some people are just kind of messed up and just degenerates, to be honest. But I'm just very fortunate that way. And I think I definitely have been taking it for granted. So, and the thing that kind of made me aware of that, and it's actually a very recent example, just last week, I had a friend and one of her friends. She's been like one of my best friends for like 10 years. And she's a lesbian, so there's no jokes to be made about, oh, a friend, that's a girl. And so is her friend. She's just been one of my best friends. She's like one of the boys, which is funny to say, but loves shooting the shit, drinking beer, hanging out, stress-free. So we've been close for about 10 years. We met at university. She's from a rural area as well. But we met at university, which is only an hour away from my house. But it's in the city, which is like 50,000 people or something. It's not a huge city. But my town is, less than 1,000 people. So 50 times the size of where I'm from. So she's moved out to Vancouver, big city girl now. And just last week, I brought her and her friend up to where I'm from, Surrey, PEI is the name of the town. Very rural, very country. And I said, we're just going to have a day in the country. So first thing we did was we had lunch, just barbecued, hung out, shot the shit, had a beer. And then something like that I completely took for granted is just up the road, I have one of my best friends has a funny farm. They have donkeys, sheep, and horses, and it was like something that's so normal to me. Like I just drove up the road, parked in the field, and walked in, or parked in the driveway and walked into the field, and then just hung out with like 3 of the friendliest donkeys around, fed the horses, and just was interacting with them. Like some people don't get to do that ever, and I can do it any day of the week if I want to, and it's just so normal for me, but it's not normal for everyone, and I think that's something that I have to kind of understand. Like not everyone, but there's a lot of different, aspects of life that I deem normal that 99% of the world doesn't deem normal, and vice versa for people in the cities. Like there's stuff they have on us that's cool that I don't get to do and that they might take for granted. But that was just kind of phase 1. And then part 2 was I took them up to one of the local harbors or the wharfs. It's I come from a fishing area, and it's giant bluefin season. So funny enough, or whatever enough, this harbor is actually called the tuna capital of the world for giant bluefin tuna, which is the biggest biggest species of tuna. And there was fish coming in that day. The fishing season's like in full swing right now. It's almost done. The quota is almost scooped up. So I am a tuna fisherman. I've caught 2 this year with my best friend, which was a pile of fun. I have a few clips from that, not anything great, but so I brought the girls up there, and we were lucky enough that we pulled in as the tuna was being landed. So literally being craned up out of the water, because they're like, anywhere between 6 and 10 feet long and weigh anywhere between 200 pounds and 1,400 pounds. So this one was about a 500 pounder, and then the next one was a bit smaller, or vice versa. The first one was like 440, and the next one was like 500. But I watched it and was just kind of like, I've been doing this since I was like 5. So this was like just another day at the office for me. And they were both like, kind of grossed out because it is a giant, beautiful creature being gutted and whatever in front of you. But at the same time, they're both like, that was so cool. Like, how are you so casual about this? Like, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, just been doing it for 25 years. It's pretty normal. But like, normal for me is not normal for 99.999999999% of the world. And that's not to say that like, that's like super cool and like everyone's missing out. It's just, this is something I get to experience quite regularly and quite frequently that just doesn't seem odd to me at all, but not many other places in the world get to experience it. I mean, tuna fishing is big here on PEI. It's big on a lot of areas in Nova Scotia in certain harbors. It's big down in like Maine, Massachusetts, down the coast, not New Hampshire, but like down Boston way, like big down the coastal areas. But I mean, a vast majority of the world doesn't live on the coast. So it's something that people don't get to see day to day, but it was super normal and casual for me. So that was kind of like a light bulb moment. It was like, oh shit, like I guess, these things are pretty cool experiences that I just haven't really thought much about. So I kind of want to work on that. And just as a whole, like I get to walk out my front door, and I don't really want to move the camera, but fuck it. We'll set the camera back up. Like I'm just in the woods. It's a beautiful like fall day, and like I just go look out there, and some days you go out, there's birds chirping, there's squirrels. I do get some foxes and stuff at some points, coyotes around, which I don't love, but it's still pretty cool to experience. So I think that's just kind of the main goal is just stop taking things for granted that I get to see that some people don't. And like I said, that doesn't mean that it's like people are missing out. It's just these are experiences I've had that I've just not really appreciated enough. So I guess that ends my yapping, my ranting. As always, if you guys have made it this far, I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking it out while I just went on a 10 to 12 minute tangent. But like I said, I'd like to do one of these videos a month because it's kind of something I enjoy, just chatting, shooting shit. And, you know, if I get a few comments where people respond or react or have their experiences, like that's cool too. Like I like just open dialogue. So yeah, hopefully the next 3 months go pretty good on the channel and I don't just completely fucking fall off and not do what I said I was going to do. But I just wanted to have this video there so I can go back in 3 months and kind of look at what my initial goals were and my initial thoughts, and then see how they match up after that 3 months actually elapsed. But that's it, guys. Like I said, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hopefully it wasn't too painful, and we will catch you in the next one. Where's my mouse? Peace.